Good evening, everyone, or wherever you are in the world. Today is going to be another big brain discussion on investing mindset. I'm really excited to have Carlos back with us again. He's a tax professional, and he's did the tax AMAs with us before. Amazingly, knows about Hex. Hexagon is able to explain a lot of the key concepts around that and everything that goes along with understanding the staking system and trying to figure out how to get your taxes right from there. So we're going to keep this AMA as far as taxes go, real estate, crypto, wealth, estate planning. I think he's versed in a lot of different areas. But I wanted to frame, we were talking in the green room of how to frame the conversation. I think with the Cashflow game, which Rich Dad Poor Dad is famous for, putting out there, kind of like Monopoly, but in a whole different mindset type of deal. I think that'll be a good way to frame the conversation so we get into each topic. So again, if you have questions, throw them in the chat, but I'm going to jump into it with them. And then we're just going to go through a whole bunch of different topics and anything that piques your interest. Also, I have a community question that came up as well. I'll throw that in there from Pumperoni. So shout out to Pumperoni. Great community question. I'm excited for this one, the investment mindset. And it's good to talk to a professional who is able to understand and disseminate this information, break it down where we can take it and apply it to different parts of our lives. Again, every individual situation is different, but it's good just to have this information out here so we can kind of zoom into each area that we want to. So again, if you want us to zoom in, ask a question, we'll get to it when we can. Without further ado, welcome to the stream. Carlos, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good, man. Thank you for having me again. I'm gonna enjoy
this. This is number three. I think was the first tax AMA last year, and then we had a tax AMA maybe 3 weeks ago or so. And then I was like, hey, man, you know a lot of stuff about a lot of different investment things. Why don't you come back and do this one? So I'm excited to get into this one. I think just broadly speaking, people in crypto usually aren't financial experts in a lot of other directions, and it's great to have you on the show to kind of give your way of thinking about a lot of different topics, because you seem to be well versed in the financial and the tax and the investment space.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's been obviously a bunch of years combined and a lot of pains, and learning lessons. But I think that what we're about to do today, it's a foundation of how to actually embark in a new adventure for yourself as an investor. Now, so we have a lot of people in the community that is invested in Hex, and a lot of the people in the community that is overall invested in crypto. And we have a certain expectation that this speculative asset is going to ultimately save us or take us out from a certain situation. That's the ultimate dream, right? I hope that my Pulse investment or my PulseX investment or my Hex investment in my 15-year stake is going to give me enough money for me to get out of a certain type of situation, or just simply change the situation to something different. What I'm trying to intercept in that message, I'm not saying that is wrong. I'm just saying that throughout that time that we expect or wait for certain speculative assets to come to fruition, we have to build a foundation. And that foundation will allow us to create different things other than just the speculative asset that we are expecting a result from. And by having these sort of behaviors or mindset will allow you to actually create different opportunities for yourself other than just waiting for a speculative asset to increase in value. At the same time, we don't have a crystal ball, and our efforts and our energy shouldn't just rely on someone or something to give us a certain result for us to get out of a certain situation or improve our lives the way that we want to improve our lives. And therefore, the foundation that the Cashflow game gives us is that anyone that has a job can go ahead and create certain habits for us to save enough money for small opportunities first, and then create certain decision patterns to be able to get out of that rat race that we're always trying to chase for for us to get into the actual cash flow game that allows us to achieve certain things that we want in life. And I think that's it. I mean, I think that the main bread and butter of the conversation today will be from explaining the game itself. As we play the game, there's going to be things like, oh, you got a baby, and then there's additional expenses, or you decided to actually build a pool in your house, and your $20,000 that you had saved up is now gone. Or hey, you know what? You have a credit card debt of $15,000, and you just got $10,000. Do you want to go ahead and use your cash to actually pay off your debt, or do you want to go ahead and go for an opportunity that allows for cash flow to be able to pay off for that monthly debt? So it's a nice way for us to see our assets, our liabilities, as far as what type of investments we have, the debt that we have attached to it, and it gives us a different concept about debt as well. So as we go ahead and have our paydays, we're going to accumulate cash. We're going to use that cash for either assets that have cash flow or liabilities that are only going to take away from our cash flow, and see how fast we can get out of that rat race to be able to achieve the things that we want. So that's our day today. Today, I make a decision to pay off a credit card. Today, I make a decision to, go to the bar and spend $300 on a dinner. So it's a way for us to think for the future and create habits that are healthy, that will create a foundation for us, and not only expect a speculative asset to give us a result or resolve our life.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I think that's the biggest. Played Cashflow a few months ago with some friends, and it literally is a mindset changer. Like when you start playing it, you're like, oh, why can't I do this? Oh, it's because you made this decision, or you don't have this yet. It really puts you in the zone of, okay, in order to get what is it? Is it going from what are the different levels? I forget. It's like going from like investor to or from earner to investor. You have to like do certain levels, but you're always stuck there until you do the right things, right?
Yeah, even if you become an investor, sometimes the money that comes in through those investments, or the cash flow that you're trying to build through those investments, you still spend it on liabilities, or you still don't have the experience to be able to save up that cash to be able to buy more assets. We just get into the mindset of immediate gratification. That, fortunately, within the Hex community, at least that portion of the mindset is there, which is delayed gratification. And delayed gratification is always great. And what we get caught up in is that immediate gratification. Like, I suddenly cashed out on my Pulse investment and I got $100,000. What am I gonna go buy with it? I'm gonna go buy a car. I'm gonna go buy this and that. And to be honest, a lot of the people that have approached me and reached out to me, their main thing is, I want to buy a house. I want to buy a house for myself, or I want to buy a house for investments. So we can go ahead and try to have the discussion about, okay, cool. Let's wait for those speculative assets to come to fruition and have that sort of action to be taking place. But as well, let's go ahead and start creating something with what we currently have, which is our payday, which is our jobs, which is the small businesses that we have, or the medium-sized businesses that we have, and be able to create those habits to be able to create that future that we want with the things that we currently have, and not the ones that we're waiting for.
So how do we get started with this? Should we get into real estate? Should we get into crypto? Should we get into specific situations? What is the best way to kind of like unravel some of these situations? Like you said, a lot of people come to you, they want to buy a house, but they have 100K pulse gains or hex gains or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. Where can we start to kind of dig into some of this and to see what our options are and what the investor mindset, the decisions we would make from that?
Well, I think that as far as getting started would be to actually look at your revenue streams right now and look at your expenses. So you have to have some sort of knowledge to be able to read your profit and loss on your balance sheet. The profit and loss is going to be income coming in and expenses going out. The balance sheet is going to be your assets, as far as what you are acquiring that could be considered an asset that produces cash flow, or it's an appreciating in nature. And a liability would be the debt that is attached to that asset if you were able to get, for example, real estate with a mortgage. So we are able to track our liabilities and see if those liabilities have a monthly cost, which is directly related to our P&L, right? Or our cash flow going out, cash in, cash out. And by getting familiar with these financial statements and being able to actually create those for your life is going to be the first step for you to be aware. Once you are aware, then you know how to set up certain goals, like saving 20% of your income or 10% of your income to be able to create cash reserves for yourself. And as you create cash reserve for yourself, you may want to create an emergency fund, or you may want to create opportunities of investments for the future. However, the basic is going to be getting familiar with the financial statements, and in the day-to-day, always having this in mind, so the choices that you make every single day are in correlation with your goals or are aligned to your vision.
Yeah, that's something I talked about the other day with Jake and Maxim on the wealth mindset is just, if you have goals and then you see yourself getting outside of those, don't lie to yourself. Recognize that. Say, hey, here's my goal. And then I know, whatever it is, diet, or it's finance or whatever it is. Hey, I got 100K. My goal is to not work anymore, but I'm going to go buy a Lambo. Like, recognize that is not going to lead you to, your current plan. It's going to lead you off track. So with real estate in particular, do you want to dig into that first and just see, for example, how, if one of the goals of people who invest in speculative assets is to get into real estate, or I guess how would the cash flow portion fit into that, and how would we, I guess, play the game in the right way, or deviate as well?
Well, I'll talk about real estate a little bit, but I think that why don't we play the game, just a few rounds, and
Okay.
kind of show them what it looks like. But
Okay.
as far as answering the question of real estate, real estate is incredibly useful when it comes to taxation. I'll give you an example. You have $100,000 to invest in the stock market, and it's an asset that increases in value over time. It has fluctuations like any other asset, but it's in nature with the expectation of growth. In addition to that, we have the approach of investing in the stock market with the expectation of dividends. And that would be an asset that not only increases in value over time, or even if it stays stagnant, it's an asset that produces cash flow in a monthly basis or in a quarterly basis for us to be able to live off of that. Now, given that example, my question is your $100,000 that you invested in that stock, are you able to deduct it to go against the income that you have as far as the tax portion of it? The answer is no. You simply put in 100,000, you receive dividends, which are taxable, or and if you sell that asset, obviously, if there's a gain, there's a capital gain, which is subject to taxation as well. The difference on an asset such as real estate is that if you have 100,000 and you put it in real estate, it becomes a deductible portion of it. You can depreciate the asset if it's for business purposes. So therefore, you're taking deductions against the cash flow that you have in that real estate investment property. And therefore, the tax benefits become a lot greater. You still have the benefit of appreciation over time. Obviously, you need to do your research as far as what type of assets are increasing in price, what areas, etc. You need to make sure that you actually bring in cash flow and make sure that you're finding good opportunities for it. And at the same time, then you have the third factor, which is the tax benefit. So that's why real estate is one of the most beautiful types of assets that someone could acquire for investment purposes, because it helps us with taxation as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. So how do we get started playing the game?
I can share my screen because I pulled up the game in my screen.
Okay. Yeah. I'll throw this one off, and I'll share yours as soon as you put it up there.
Let me see. Share screen. Then there you go.
Okay.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and only put one player right now, so we can just go fast through the game, and then just cover different concepts. And if you want me to stop at any point, I can stop it, and we can talk about it. Okay.
Yeah. So just a couple things real quick. Could you send the link in the private chat, and I'll post it here just so people can have a link to play it.
Sure. Yeah, I sent it in the private chat already.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't see it.
No.
Put it in.
It's just richdad.com /classic game.
Okay. And could you zoom in just a little bit on the? Okay. Yeah, that might be good. Just so people watching can see. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, let's get started. Cool.
So the first thing is to choose our dream, and we say something like, okay, going to a festival, private cabin, buying a private cabin in Montana Lake, having a park named after yourself, heli ski into Swiss Alps, dinner with the president, or traveling all around the world. We don't care about it right now. We're just going to choose whatever. But, you can take the time to kind of go through all the dreams that you would like to accomplish, and then you choose that. That's the first step. Now, we're going to go ahead and roll our dice. But before we do that, let's go ahead and see, who are we? We are a pilot. We're an airplane pilot that earns $9,500 a month. Sometimes this is actually a waiter earning $1,500 a month, or it could be $3,000 a month. It really gives you whatever type of professions are normal in our day to day. In this case, we just happen to have airline pilot salary for $9,500 a month. And then we already have expenses such as taxes, mortgage payment, a car loan, credit card payments, retail payments, and other expenses. So therefore, what we can see is that our total income is $9,500 a month, and our total expenses is $6,900 a month, and we're only left with $2,600. So our payday is more like $2,600 a month, and we have zero passive income that shows in this screen right here. Our goal for this game is to be able to pay for all these different expenses, which are $6,900, with passive income. So as we go ahead and bring passive income into here, we achieve financial freedom, because now we don't really have to work our day-to-day job to bring in this pilot salary to be able to cover these expenses. So by definition, for this game specifically, financial freedom is covering the total amount of expenses by passive income. Okay. In the bottom, we see our assets, such as stocks, real estate, or businesses that we have purchased, and our liabilities. So the home mortgage, $143,000, is related to an expense here of $1,330. Our car loan of $15,000 is a $300 payment, and a retail debt is $1,000, which is a payment of $50. So that's what we have in our financials right now. So every time that we go through payday, which is the yellow square right here, we're going to go ahead and get paid the $2,600. And the greens are opportunities, whether they're small, big opportunities. And the blues or the purples are going to be things that happen in life. So let's go ahead and roll. So we have a deal opportunity right off the bat. So do we want to go for it? Well, I only have $3,000 in cash. The small deals cost $5,000 or less. So let's go ahead and see if we can actually purchase a small deal. In this case, it says, okay, condo for sale, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It is cost us $40,000. The cash flow is $220, and the down payment is $5,000. I only have $3,000, so that means that I would have to borrow from someone or the bank $2,000 in here, and the interest rate. Let's go ahead and check it out. Not enough funds. Take a loan of $2,000 and a monthly payment of $200. Do we want to have that? So that means that our payday would be $2,400, but our cash flow increases by $240. In this case, I'll go for it because we still have positive cash flow. So I'm going to go ahead and click. Yes, well, it's $20 in cash flow, right? So right. Is it a good investment? Not really, not for us at this point that we didn't really have the cash, because now we only have $20 in cash flow. But I'll buy it anyway because it's adding into my $20. So we buy. So now what is my financial statement now? We have passive income 220, but my total expenses increased to 7,100. So at any point, by the way, you can go ahead and borrow more money, or you can go ahead and repay any type of debt. At this point, we have zero cash now, so we have to wait until the next payday to actually eat or do something. All right, so finish your turn. So we're gonna go ahead and end our turn, and we're gonna roll. So now we have a baby. Child expenses will be increased by $480. So now our cash flow. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna roll again. All right, cool. So we got paid. So we have a little bit of cash in the bank now. We have 2140, but our expenses are now 7580. So we got away even further from our goal. So we got to see how we're gonna handle this one, right? No payday, and I have to buy food for $150. So now we have less cash. We got to roll. I got downsized. I got to pay 7,580. What the heck?
Downsized. What does that?
I
So
got fired.
That have some?
I got fired.
Okay. You got fired, and you got to pay money.
Yeah, but now I got to borrow money to actually pay off that amount, and I'm gonna have to, or so pay. Turn skipped. Okay. All right, a small opportunity. Well, we don't even have the cash, and we would have to borrow more. So I'm just gonna go ahead and skip it. Cash flow 0, cost 5,000, down payment 5,000. What would you do on this opportunity if I had the cash for $5,000?
Well, it doesn't increase the cash flow. Are we talking about, or are we considering the appreciation over time?
Yeah, that could be a consideration. But it's speculation. Let's call this hex. Let's call this a Bitcoin, or let's call this a stock. It's the same thing. It has zero cash flow. Well, hex is different because we do have the interest coming. Well, not interest, but the yield coming in. But at the same time, it's speculative in nature. So do we want, and cash flow only reflects itself if you have a lot of money in hex as far as the yield. So I'll take that back. I'll just call it Bitcoin. So the cost is 5,000, speculative in nature. Cash flow 0, and the down payment is 5,000.
So is just the overarching theme of this game, is it we're trying to get more cash flow? We're trying to go through all the opportunities that have that? Is that would that?
We're trying to. Our goal is to have financial freedom. So therefore, we want enough passive income to be able to cover a total amount of expenses. So in this case, if you deplete 5,000 that you don't even have, will you actually be closer to your goal?
So you'll have more expenses because of the loan, sounds like.
Yeah. And do we add into the cash flow?
No.
So we deplete our cash. We have more expenses because of the debt, and it doesn't help us here. So in a certain context, what we have to think about too, when we're actually thinking about investing more in crypto, is my opportunity cost, right? Am I depleting my cash to be able to acquire a speculative asset that I don't know if I will be able to sell? Or am I also going to build a foundation first to be able to have cash flow coming in, and I can have that cash flow paired for those speculative assets? In this case, we're going to go ahead and pass this because I don't have enough cash. All right. So condo buyer, you're offered 45,000 for a 2-1 bathroom. We do have that. We're offered 45,000. We bought it for 40,000. So that means that we have a $5,000 capital gain. But we would deplete our cash flow. But in this case, it's a decision of oh shit.
Did you pass on it?
I did pass on it by accident.
Okay, but why would Why would you have taken it? Why would that be a good thing?
Well, because sometimes we have assets that we want to sell for the sake of adding to our cash. Sometimes we want to have other opportunities that give us more cash flow. In this case, I just wanted a little bit more cash for us to kind of buy a bigger opportunity. Because how long would it take us to actually get into the 5,000 in cash here when my expenses are actually quite high and I'm only getting paid 1,540? It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to do it, but I just kind of wanted to recover a little bit of cash in there. So then I would go for it. In this case, I messed up, but whatever. That happens too. You miss out on opportunities too because you take too long on analyzing an opportunity, or you're just too dumb to actually take some action, right? Or read proper, the opportunities correctly.
Yeah, or be sensitive to good opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to pay $100 now. Parking handicap zone, so I got a ticket. I pay that and roll. All right, I got paid. We want to go for a small deal or a big one. Yeah, we only have money for a small one, so we'll go for it. It says a strong market leads to strong share price. Cost $30. Cash flow 0. Trading range of this stock is $5 to $30. So we would be buying Bitcoin at 69,000 right here with 0 cash flow. Are we gonna go for it?
So the cost is 30, and the range is it
5 to 30.
5 to 30? Okay, so it sounds like buying at the top. Yeah, I get it. It sounds like a bad deal to me.
It is definitely a bad deal, so we're gonna pass it. Yeah. All right, we're gonna roll again. So small. The cost is $5 for this stock. Cash flow is 0, but its trading range is 5 to 40. Sounds like we would be buying on a low.
Yeah,
so that sounds like Hex at 1 cent
for
or 2
appreciation.
cents. Right. Sounds like Hex at 1 cent or 2 cents, right?
Yes.
We're gonna go ahead and buy, right?
Yes, definitely.
Let's go ahead and buy something that we can afford. We have 3,000, so let's go ahead and buy. Let's go ahead and buy 100. So that's $500.
So you're gonna go all in?
No, I can't go all in, man. We can't. We gotta eat, man. We got a baby.
That's true.
I'm just gonna buy $1,000 for it because I got 3,000, right? So we'll just buy it.
Okay.
All right. And now let's look at our financial statement real quick. We got the real estate that we bought. We bought it with a mortgage at $35,000, which created expenses, and now we have all these different expenses over here. To kind of reconnect with our goal is that expenses are 8,180 right now. We only have 220 in passive income, so we just spent some money in a speculative asset. Do we get closer to our goal? No, we didn't get closer to our goal. We just kind of put ourselves in a position where we may have more cash in the future to get closer to our goal. So it's kind of appreciating assets, and then there's cash flow assets, and we need to look for both. Okay. All right, we got 3,000. We got to go for the small deal. All right, there's a mutual fund, $30, cash flow 0, trading range 10 to 30. We would be buying an all-time high. Do we want to do that? Well, no, we pass.
It does increase cash flow, but it would be buying at a high, so probably pass.
Definitely a hard pass. I got downsides again. What the heck, man? Jeez, I think we're gonna go bankrupt on this one. I don't think we're gonna be able to. All right. Well, I have to borrow money. Jesus. All right.
Struggle is real.
The struggle is real, man. This is the bear market for us right here. Look at this. Yeah. All right, we're getting closer to actually being bankrupt. Once we go more expensive than our payday, we go bankrupt, and that happens all the time in real life. We start spending more than what we earn. So, I mean, this is real. We're getting close. So we go for a small deal here. It costs 40,000. Down payment is 4,000. Cash flow is 140. We had cash flow over here at 220. The loan itself would be here about $36,000 minus the cash that we have, so 30 something thousand. The payment on the loan would be greater than the cash flow. So are we gonna go for it? No.
No, not that one.
No, because the debt payment would be greater than the cash flow in itself, and we don't have enough. If we had the 4,000, we would definitely go for it, but we don't have it right now. So these people on margin, they're getting wrecked. All right, so we're gonna pass it just because we don't have the money right now.
Ladies liquor margin / leverage.
All right, stock. All right, so we bought it at 5 because this is the stock that we have here. It's 200 shares of OK for You. This is OK for You drug. We bought it at 5, and now it's selling at 10. Are we gonna sell it? Hell yeah! We have an opportunity right now to sell it at double the price.
We're selling Hex on the double, though. Shouldn't we sell it on the double, on the double, on the double, on the double, on the double?
Yeah, but do you know that for sure, or do we need cash right now? Are you gonna skip on that opportunity to acquire and get closer to your goal, or are you gonna wait for the double, the double, the double?
I think it's a hard choice because what if we wait a little bit longer and it's like it goes up to $15 or $20, and then we just wait, delayed gratification, right?
Well, wouldn't you be able to look at this? $10 times 200 equals $2,000, right? So if I sell everything right now, we would be making $2,000 to add to our cash. So sometimes, do we want to have $2,000 to kind of go over here? Or do we have actually room or the opportunity to actually wait for the double and the double and the double? Do we want to wait for that, or do we have immediate needs right now?
We do have immediate needs, but yeah, up to you. I defer to the expert.
Well, it's up to you, man. Do you want to sell or do you want to pass? In my personal opinion, I would sell it. I would sell it because we have immediate needs for cash. It's not like we are in a position where we have $100,000 in the bank and we're not worried about it. And we can just wait on the double and the double and the double. I think that right now we only got $1,000 in the bank. We got to do something about this. And we have an opportunity in front of us right now. Let's go ahead and accumulate a little bit more cash to see if we get a bigger opportunity for cash flow. Because remember, our goal is for passive income to cover our total amount of expenses.
That's true. All right. Sell it.
I'm going to sell it. Cool. And roll. Cool. So we got more cash, and now we got opportunity for more cash flow, for more opportunities. All right. The cost is $500 for rare gold coin. All right. The down payment is $500. And, it could be that we expect gold to shoot up in price. But, who knows? People still think that would happen. So do we want to buy or we want to pass?
Yeah, I think I pass on that one.
All right. Good choice. We got another baby, man.
Wow. Gotta stop getting busy so much, man. We can't afford this stuff right now. What's keep happening?
All right. We got some cash, a small deal. All right. So now the cost is 40. It trades at 10 to 30. Do we want to buy it at an all-time high? No. All right. And then we roll. Hey, how do we keep getting downsides, man? Jesus. We have to take a loan, $400. We only have, I don't know if we're going to make this one, man.
It's okay. We're learning some lessons along the way.
Yeah, I guess so. Look, we only have $160 on cash flow. Gosh. No, we have to skip this one. Cost $4,000, cash flow 20. We have to pass. We can't afford even the payment of the debt. Give to charity. We're gonna pass right now, man. We're not gonna give anything to charity.
Not able to. Yeah.
Small deal. Cost $20. Trades. It's a little bit too high for my taste. We gotta buy at the lows.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pass on this one. All right. At least we're getting a little more money. Deal opportunity. Cost in dollars, 5 to 10. I mean, that would be an okay opportunity, but we don't have the money right now, so we're gonna pass.
Okay.
Gosh. Okay, another stock, 20. Zero cash flow, 10 to 30. We're gonna pass. Cost 30, all-time high. We're gonna pass. Okay, at least you're getting a little payment, but Jesus. Cost $1. Okay. This is great. We get it at a massive discount.
Wow. Yes.
Yes. Let's go ahead and
Much as
buy.
possible.
How many do you want to buy? 500?
Hades, as much as possible. I feel like that's going to go to the moon. Looks like.
Yeah, it could. It could. Buy. Roll. Pass. Roll. All right. Small. Cost 40. Oh, look. Now it's actually selling at $40 and we own 500.
Cha-ching.
There you go. It went to the moon.
Went to the
$20,000. Woo! All right, we're gonna sell all of it. Now we're in a good position financially. This is Hex going to 25 cents right now, 25x. Are you gonna sell or at least don't sell everything? Don't sell your whole bag, but at least get a little bit so you can be in a good position for yourself. Now, so we go to now we can afford the big the big deals. Let's go for a big one. Down payment 9,000, cash flow 3,000. Do we want to go for it? Yes, because we have enough. So we're gonna buy.
Yep.
Roll. All right. Now let's go ahead and take this chance to actually look at liabilities right now and see if we're able to reduce some of our expenses because our payday keeps getting lower and lower. So we may want to, and it's getting harder and harder to saving cash. So do we maybe want to pay for something right here? You know, let's look for an opportunity first, and then we'll do that. Things are going well for the company. Split 2 for 1. Yeah, we don't have anything like that. So let's see if we can repay some stuff. We have child expenses, loan payments. All right, we can only pay the yellow stuff. The home mortgage, 143. Car loans, which is $300. Let me ask you this. Let's say that we pay off $10,000 here. Or let's go ahead and pay off here the 1,000 or anything like that, right? The cash flow that we get from paying off this, it's only $50 in difference that it would make here. Do we want to spend the $1,000 in a deal that gives us $100 in cash flow, or do we want to spend $1,000 in here that only reduces our expenses by $50?
Yeah, not $50.
Not the $50. We can't really afford to pay off anything else, so we're just gonna go ahead and not pay any debt right now. We're just gonna keep on buying things. All right, let's go for. Do you want to go for a big one or a small one? We got 11,000.
I think a big at this point.
All right.
We got some cash. We're feeling good.
But we don't have enough money. Oh, but let's see if we can borrow and see. So we got cash flow at 2,700.
It's pretty good.
All right. If we borrow the rest, which is 30,000, it might actually be very convenient for us. 2,700 in cash flow. So we buy, take a loan of 29,000 with a monthly payment of 2,900. What was the cash flow?
2,700.
2,700. Oh, okay. So we can't because we would be negative cash flow. So we get to skip on that deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2,700. Yeah, we're gonna pass.
This is really good to see, like how you think about things and like just literally the mental, the mindset of, hey, you know, it doesn't give us cash flow. I mean, this is great to walk through it.
And it's also not easy. We look, I got fired again. This is our fifth time.
Bear market.
We just got wrecked over getting wrecked, you know, with our cash. You know, okay, you offer 135,000 for this house, and we bought it for 70,000. That would give
Yes.
us a really good position for us to get some cash and be able to get other opportunities with bigger cash flow, right? All right.
Yes.
So we sell amount here, sell. Okay. Let's look at a financial statement. We got 76,000 in the bank now. We reduced our passive income, but now we can go for bigger opportunities that have like $2,000 in it. So that's why we want to sell sometimes speculative assets when we have an opportunity to do so, because there might be another opportunity for cash flow to be able to achieve our goal. All right. So we're going to go for a big one. Down payment, 8,320. All right. We'll buy it. All right. We're going to roll. We got paid. We're going to roll. We bought furniture. All right. Roll. You're offered 40,000 per unit on this condo. So that means that we would get paid 43,000. So we bought it for 45. Let me see. Go back. You're offered 40,000 a unit. We bought it for 45. No, we're not gonna sell it. Sell amount 43,000. Oh wait, cost times 2. Oh, it's per unit. So we have
Yeah, how many units do we have?
2.
Oh,
This is a plague. I think that's what this is. Sell cost amount owed. Yeah, 40,000 minus 37 that we owe. We would actually get $43,000 more in cash.
pamp
Well,
it.
Let's
What
go ahead.
do you think? You want to
Let's
do
sell
it? I
Yeah.
think so. I think so.
Yeah, because now we got $112,000 in the bank. This is us cashing out on the pause, and then suddenly we have 100,000. What are we gonna do with it? Let's go ahead and buy a Lambo.
That would be funny if you roll it and it's like offered the car dealership a great buy on a Lambo.
Well, here in this case, the decision that we would be in front of would be: do we want to pay off our mortgage, right? And people do that. I have clients like, "Hey, Carlos, is it a good idea to pay off my mortgage?" I'm like, "Well, how much is your mortgage payment?" Well, 1330. Well, sure, like our goal would be closer, but we still don't have enough passive income to actually reach it. And we would deplete our cash on actually trying to buy a big opportunity right now. And we would have to save us all this money again to be able to have a big opportunity to be able to get closer to our goal. So in my position, some people would actually pay off their mortgage, but financially speaking, according to the game that we're playing, it doesn't make any sense, right? So
yeah,
let's go for a big game. All right, we're gonna buy 300 in cash flow. We're gonna go big. 400 in cash flow. Yes. We're buying everything we can right now. We gotta pay for lunch. We're gonna go big. 950 for $40,000 down payment. That's a lot of money for 950.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. It's a little, but it's 8plex. I wonder if somebody will come along for a deal. Oof.
I mean, we have the money for it. It's positive cash flow. The decision is mainly on the depletion of cash, but it's still positive, right? We don't. The 950 is going to be okay. You know, like it will get us closer to our goal. But maybe do we want to wait for another one, or are you? What do you think?
I mean, it's a little too big for having under 100K in cash.
All right, so we want to pass it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll pass it. This is negative cash flow, but someone might come in and buy it in the future. What do you think?
You had me at negative cash flow.
It
doesn't sound great.
It doesn't sound great. Even though it's a speculative asset in nature, I don't think that we should base our whole $20,000 in a speculative asset just like that when we still have a goal to meet.
It's in-ground pull, though. With good schools. I'm teetering, but yeah, it's up to you.
Let's go ahead and pass it. We got a new baby, man. What the heck?
Keeps happening.
Fertile conversation. All right, you're offered 30,000 per unit times 4, and we actually do have one.
Ooh.
So do we want to sell amount $12,000? No, I say we don't sell it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Big. All right, cool. Finally, $1,500 in cash flow for a limited partnership, non-franchise sandwich shop, doubling the number of location. Owner needs additional equity capital to get operating loan. So $30,000 is a cost on the cash flow, $1,500. So definitely, man, we're definitely gonna go for this.
But what about the liability coming up of somebody getting sued for slipping on something at the restaurant? Maybe we're protected though.
Yeah, well, you have insurance for that.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Interest rates.
I wanted to pull that out. I want to pull points like that out of like if you're actually making this decision, like are there other like windfalls that come from that that's not written on a piece of paper? So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. You definitely have to have an attorney and be able to every single investment that you go into. Obviously, we're doing it fast, but every single investment that we go into, you have to get advisors in it. You have to get mentors. You got to get people that have actually done it to be able to, jump into these deals. All right. So interest rates drop. You own a 3-bedroom, 3-bath. Do you want to sell them for $50,000 from the original cost? So which is this one? More than the original cost. We would get $58,000 more here. Do we want to do it?
I think so. What do you think?
Well, it would be kind of sending us back a little bit on the cash flow, so we can acquire more cash. We have enough cash right now, but this is a good opportunity. I think that's 58,000, and I think that we can get more opportunities in the future. I think that this one only had cash flow of which one is this? It was the 3-2 house, or what? Which one was it?
I think it's the 3-2.
The 3-2 house, 65,000. The 3-2 house has cash flow of $300. So maybe we can get another opportunity, to replace that $300. So let's sell it. All right. Our kids now getting braces, man. They're growing up too quick.
And their job probably sucks, so we don't have good insurance to pay for it. So we keep getting downsized.
Oh, look at this. We got the same house, but now for $500 in cash flow. So this is great that we sold it. We have enough money to actually buy these better assets. So we'll buy it. Let's go for a big one. Cash flow 5,000. Look at that. With $100,000. Wow. That's amazing. Do we want to do that? Jeez, we would leave us only with a $4,000.
But what would our passive income look like?
Well, we would be at 7,600, very close to our goal. I think we can make it happen with small deals after that.
That's what I was going to say. I think after that, we definitely couldn't do any. We'd have to
big deals.
Be particular on the deals. Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's go for it. Pizza. Everyone loves pizza.
Yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. All right, let's look at our financial statement real quick. So now our passive income is 7,620. Our total expenses have increased overall to 10,040. And these are our assets that give us passive income. So now we're getting close and close, right, to actually meeting what we make in our jobs. And obviously
I just want to ask too, can you tell people, just the ones who may have just joined, like why we're doing this, what we're going for, what this game is showing us how to do to escape the rat race?
Yes, our game, this game that we're playing right now is teaching us about having a strong foundation when it comes to finances. Having created an income statement for ourselves in income and expenses, as well as assets and liabilities, to be able to see if we are actually in a good position to continue investing in speculative assets. And instead of trying to wait for a certain speculative asset to give us or save us for for in our lives to change our life, we can build this foundation in the meantime for us to, when that speculative asset actually comes to fruition, be able to utilize it in something that that we're going to use in a regular life now, because now at this point we have changed our habits and the way that we think. So it's to change our mindset and to recognize opportunities when we're able to cash out from certain speculative assets, to be able to actually build some sort of cash flow for ourselves and achieve financial freedom, which is passive income paying off for the expenses that we have in a monthly manner. So this is what we're trying to achieve today. We're trying to see how difficult it is. And we have encountered so many challenges to be able to achieve this. And but at least we can relate in real life to all these struggles that we go through on a day-to-day basis.
3 kids, braces, got
fired 6 times.
Demoted. Yeah, fired or demoted like a bunch of times. It's crazy. This is like real life stuff.
Yeah, real life. All right, we're gonna roll again. We got paid. We're gonna roll again. All right, we can only go for, I mean, we could go for a big one, but let's go for a small one. We don't want to deplete our cash too quick. All right, 2,000 for 220. Let's buy it. The cost of the asset is 35,000. We only have to pay $2,000 from our cash, and it increases our cash flow here for $220.
Yeah.
Gonna buy, and we're gonna roll, and we're gonna go for a small deal again. The cost is of this stock 1,200. Cash flow is 10, so he pays a dividend. Do we want to spend 1,200 for only $10 in cash flow?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because what we were talking about here is that we, in the last deal, we had the $2,000 that we spent, and it was a cash flow of 220. So $10 doesn't seem too much for the allocation of this capital. So I think we're gonna pass on this one. All right, it's an opportunity to sell an Aplex, but we don't have any assets that match this market card. So there's nothing we can do. Now, for the new people that came in, we actually always have the opportunity to borrow money or to repay. So do we need to borrow money right now? Probably not. Do we need to actually repay any debt? Well, we have enough passive cash flow to pay for most of the expenses right now. So we're able to actually capture 7,300 in free money from our payday, because our passive income is covering most of our expenses now. And a few turns away, we only had $100 every payday, but now we were able to free up to 7,300 every time that we have a paycheck now. So do we want to repay or borrow? No, I don't think so at this moment. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Max got a stereo. No,
apparently, I gotta get some 15s for the car every once in a while. I don't have to have a kicker, but I can have a good brand. Okay.
You want to go for a big one or a small one?
I'm thinking big, man. So let's see what they got at least. Hopefully not too big.
All right. 7,000 for 300 in cash flow.
Let's see. It's a single family home. Looks like on golf course. Should we consider some of the details, or should we just look at cash flow and down payment?
You in real life, you would look at the details, because then you want to be in a good area for speculative, like if you want good appreciation over a period of 10 years, then you would look at that, all those details. Also the risk. If you're in front of the ocean, then you might have flooding risk, and insurance might be higher. You might want to consider all those different expenses that are going to come with the property, as well as the seawater damaging the paint over a period of time and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, those details are important. Not for the game though, but for real life, yeah.
Gotcha. Sounds like we're leaning towards pass then.
300 for 7,000. Yeah, we were able to get 300 on the small thing. So I think a pass would be okay. We're getting experience enough to recognize what's a good deal and what's not a good deal.
Yeah.
Do we want to donate? We have enough cash. Do we want to donate 10%?
Trying trying to think in the context of a game, how do we benefit, or are we just
in the context of the game, it would not benefit us at all.
I don't know. I think I should be a little bit greedy then. Real life, you can make your own decision.
Exactly. All right, you're offered $110,000 for a 3-2 rental house.
How much are we making in cash flow on the 3-2?
On the 3-2, $500. And we bought it for. We have two of them. We can actually sell the cheaper one, because this one we're only making $220. And we would actually get $110,000. Yeah, so we'll only sell this one. Sell. Done. We don't want to sell the other one. So let's look at our financial statement. Now we have $100,000 in cash. We have only $220 less in cash flow. So it didn't really affect us that much, and we gain a lot. So let's roll. We got a small. Now let's go for a big one. 800 in cash flow for 20,000. Limited partner wanted. Well, let's look at this. $800 plus 7620. That would take us to 8420, which is a lot closer to the 10,000. We do have enough cash. I don't think I want to pass on this opportunity. Do you?
No, I mean, we got the cash, nice cash flow. I think it gets closer to our goal.
All right, cool. So let's go ahead and roll it. Condo buyer, 65,000 for a 2-1 condo. Let's see, 2-1 condo. It's only 220 in cash flow. We bought it for 40,000, so we would get an additional 25,000. Do we want to go for it? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, all right, cool. Roll. And roll. You have no assets that match this. Okay, roll. We want to go for a big one. There you go. We're about to be financially free, man. So
almost there. I know our cash is excellent. Let's see, our passive income, our expenses are there, but our passive income is doing great, and that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, so we're about to actually, congratulations, you're out of the rat race, because now our passive cash flow has exceeded our total expenses that we have for the month, and we ended up with quite a bit of businesses and properties. But for us to be able to achieve this, we didn't really have to pay off any of the debt at any point. We were just trying to manage our cash flow to not exceed our total amount of expenses, like for our expenses not to exceed the total amount of income. And we were close to being completely bankrupt, but by making good decisions and not paying off debt and having that sort of analysis to see what was going to achieve us here, we were able to now get into the actual raise over here, where now you're making, $10,000 in passive income every single month. In this case, we were allocated to passive income of 1,020,000 in passive income. So we want to get to 1,070,000 right now. In this case, I mean, we can cut the game here, but it's going to be deals like this. Like, okay, do you want to spend 300,000 to do this? Yeah, because we have the opportunity to do so. Gotcha. And at this level, you get less and less opportunities. So cash flow 5,000, sure. Roll. Stock market, okay. So this is just a dream. We're passing through the dreams. This is not our dream, so we continue hustling. Do we want to donate 100,000? No. All right, another opportunity for truck parts maker, 5,000 in cash flow, 150,000. Do we have enough cash? Yes, we had 600,000 in cash. And roll. That's not our dream. We pass it. Roll. That's not our dream. We pass it. And roll. Audit. Lose half of your cash. Jesus, look at our cash. We're about to lose $700,000 in that. All right. Well, anyway, I think we can cut the game here, but people get the concept of things. You know, at this level, you're already playing at a big level where you're trying to achieve that dream, and you get bigger opportunities. But the main knowledge here that we're trying to show is the rat racing itself. And let me go ahead and try to stop sharing my screen now. How do I do
I can
that?
remove it.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what is the lesson from not paying off the debt? Like, how did that work out, and is that applicable for, could we take that game situation in people's lives? Is that like a model, or is that kind of convoluted?
Well, the way to think about it is that there is a choice to make. The choice to make is that, are you going to buy a new asset, or are you going to pay for liabilities? Now, if you're not looking for the opportunities to be able to increase your cash flow, you're going to pay off that debt because your expenses keep on increasing. So if we're talking about that you have $1,000 and there's no opportunities out there for $1,000 to bring in positive cash flow, well, you're going to be in a certain situation where you have to kind of pay off the monthly payment on that and be able to accumulate as much cash as possible. And once you accumulate cash, then at least you have some sort of opportunity to go into a smaller deal. But the whole concept is to not deplete your cash every single opportunity that you have. You have Certainly you have savings of $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, and you may want to then go out there and look for opportunities for yourself. And if you just choose to pay off the debt, you're never going to get out of that race. You need to be able to save enough cash from your paycheck. And if it takes you a year, it takes you a year. If it takes you 2 years, then it takes you 2 years. But you're able to take cash away from that. And it teaches us also to look at our expenses to see if we have just BS expenses in a month-to-month basis. We have tons of subscriptions every month at $200 a month. We have a gym of $300 a month. We have this and that and that. Can we actually increase the room of savings every single month to be able to actually uh, uh, save more and more and more to actually get into those opportunities? And that's the lesson. It's not about not paying off your debt. I think that people should pay off their debt if they have a 25% interest. But the concept is that you need to have enough cash every single month left over to be able to save it and not touch it, so you can find those good opportunities for yourself.
Gotcha. No, I think it was. I'm so glad we played the game. That was awesome. Just to, there's people in the chat too who are like, oh, I've signed up. I'm gonna start playing too. And I think it's amazing just to teach people what is really going on. This is like the ground truth of how to escape the rat race. If that's your goal, financial freedom, how can you do that? How you need to set up your life and your mindset around doing that. And that game is just, it embodies such a powerful way of thinking. So.
And especially man, now that we're in an industry, well, in a community, we're in a community that expects results that are coming soon. We're waiting for a pump on Hicks. We're waiting for Pulse to come out, and we're waiting for PulseX to come out. And this cash that you're about to get, it's only going to be adding to the cash. It's not going to be adding to your assets. It's not going to be adding to your cash flow, but suddenly you have some cash. What are you going to do with it? What are the decisions that you're going to make? Are you going to pay off the debt, or are you actually going to go into an investment that has positive cash flow? I think this is an excellent introduction for people to start thinking about what is it that they're going to do with their speculative investments, such as Hex, PulseX, or Pulse, right? Or any other investments that they have out there, Zentex and whatever. So I think this is a great message.
Sure. A couple questions here. So, Almighty Hexagon, if I have been swapping Hex for Hedron, selling and buying lower, are each one of those traded taxable? Am I screwed because I've been swapping all this stuff the past year, just haven't staked and chilled?
Yes, it's a taxable event. It doesn't mean that you're going to pay taxes on it. But if you swap from a crypto to another crypto, it's a taxable event, meaning that you have to record the transaction on Form 8949 and calculate the cost basis of that transaction. I recommend using softwares like Coinly.io or CryptoTax calculator to be able to synchronize your DeFi wallet and the software will be able to calculate the cost basis for you. So then you can properly create a report that you provide to your tax preparer, and they're able to prepare the tax return and submit it to the IRS.
Gotcha. I just had a community question too I want to throw in here that hopefully will render correctly. Let's see. Oh, shoot. It's not doing so well, but I'll try to read it too. So this is from Pumperoni earlier on the community question. So say you have liquid hex going into the fork. Then there will be a pre-bridge period. You receive your coins, but it has zero value. So no taxes till you sell. But what if your hex is staked when the fork happens? Say you end the stake after the pre-bridge period, but now p-hex is worth 10 cents. Do you have to pay taxes on your principal then, since it's no longer worth nothing?
That's interesting. Let me see if I understood it. So he's basically saying, okay, Pulse is going to launch, and any liquid hex that you have in your MetaMask is obviously going to be zero. So therefore, he's assuming that there's going to be zero tax. That assumption is correct. There is a zero tax on the airdrops of the coins since they have a zero value. Now, the second point he's trying to make is about the stakes. Since the hex protocol or the smart contract is going to be copied over into the Pulse blockchain, what he's saying is that, okay, so I have my stakes that I see on PulseChain, and I want to early unstake. It's an what if scenario. What I think what he's proposing, he's saying, well, what if p-hex has a zero value, or what if p-hex at that point that I early unstake has a 10-cent value? I think that's a question, right?
Yeah, so that's worth 10 cents.
Yeah. So I'll answer that. So if the unstaking of hex will be handled the same way that an unstake is handled on the ETH network for the hex protocol. The basis is going to be distinguished for what you initially put in. In this case, it's all zeros as far as what you put in from your money. So the whole unstake, the quantity that you're minting of p-hex into the Pulse network, it's going to have a zero cost basis. Now, it wasn't an airdrop. p-hex on the unstaking, it's not an airdrop. Only the liquid portion of hex that you have in your MetaMask went into p-hex, and therefore that is an airdrop with a zero value. But the smart contract in itself, the stake itself, is not an airdrop. It's just a copy of the smart contract. So the unstaking process of it, it's literally just minting new p-hex into existence with a $0 cost basis. So therefore, the inventory that you're producing with p-hex, it's simply minting new hex coins into existence, and therefore it's you don't pay taxes on that, or you don't categorize it as for you to pay taxes on that, whether it has a zero value or a 10-cent value. The minting of hex in itself, it's not a taxable event. You have to, I'm sorry, it doesn't capture taxes. It is a taxable event because you have to record it on the tax software as brand new inventory. But I think the question is, should I categorize it as income or an airdrop? The answer is no. You're minting new coins into existence, and therefore you don't pay taxes as income for those p-hex new minted coins.
Awesome. Great information. Yeah, this is like I did in the intro. I said Carlos is great to have. He's great to have a Hexagon in the community who knows how the protocol actually works and can answer these complex questions, because it's not many people out there that has that both experience. They usually have one or the other, and they're struggling with the other concept they don't have. I want to ask too. So you mentioned this PulseChain thing that may be launching at some point. You don't have to go in. I don't know. You go as many details as you want, but I'm curious too, since I imagine maybe you have a portfolio of different assets and investments and financial planning. But what are you going to do when PulseChain launches? When your hex stakes end in however many years if you stake them like that, what are some of your plans around what may be happening this year, for example?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's my personal opinion, right? I don't plan to sell. I think I'm gonna wait for like 2 years at least for me to even consider selling anything. I think that history has indicated that anytime that there's an ETH fork, then there's going to be a great appreciation of that asset. I think someone, an OGX, can share with me all the different ETH forks that have happened and the amount of X's as far as the gains that have happened. And I think is like 80x has been the minimum, or 20x. I forget, but there's been 200x or 3000x and whatever. The waiting time or the delaying of gratification, I think, is going to pay off on an ETH fork that works out, such as Pulse. If it works, if everything goes the way that we want it, I don't plan to sell immediately at all. And the reason for that is because I don't need immediate liquidity. I have set myself up with a game where through my paychecks or through the money that I do in deals or whatever, I save up as much as possible to be able to acquire new assets that actually produce cash flow. And my payday, as in comparison to the game, is great enough for it to cover a lot of my expenses. I'm not saying 100% because I don't think I'm there at 100%. So at a certain point with the Pulse investment, I'm going to be looking for the big deals, right? I'm going to be looking for those big opportunities to be able to bring in new businesses that I would like to invest, or other real estate that I would like to purchase for cash flow purposes. Now, at a certain point in life, once you go ahead and have all these different cash flow, it doesn't really matter. You are looking for assets that grow in an accelerated rate because you want to maintain wealth, and you're hedging against interest, or you're hedging against inflation. And therefore, you could be at a different position. Like, for example, with Richard, he's at a different position than we are. And we're playing a different game. So for me, I'm looking for liquidation of certain assets to be able to purchase other assets that will allow me to achieve my financial freedom, which is all my expenses covered by passive income.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's I think everyone's going to have their plan, or some of them are not going to have a plan, and they're going to say, oh wow, that's if everything works out the way we're thinking, they're going to have a bunch of money, and some are going to buy Lambos, and some are going to buy assets that are going to keep them from having a job for a while. I think the next 2 years, next 3 years, 5 years, however long it is, it's going to be, if we could all be a fly on the wall and just anonymously get all the data of how everyone made the decisions and how it worked out. Oh, that'd be incredible, wouldn't it?
I mean, the people are not shy in sharing their stuff on Twitter. They're not shy at all, man. If they have an opportunity to flex, they'll flex.
They'll flex, yeah, but they don't talk about the mistakes as much, but they definitely like to flex. That's true. Question from Defiant DeFi. How is the tax calculated for realized gains? Are different investment gains taxed differently, such as stocks, metals, real estate?
Well, they're not. The only defining factor in this is whether it's long-term or short-term. Stocks and real estate or metals are, let's call it a certain type of commodity or property that if there's a gain, there's going to be a capital gain, whether it's long-term or short-term. And the fact that you asked the question, how is calculated? I mean, it's a little bit in that, but you have different percentages. You have, in a long-term, capital gain is 0%, 15%, or 20%, depending on your other income. And basically, if the way that long-term capital gains work is that a certain percentage of it is taxed at 0%, a certain percentage of it is taxed at 15%. And then once you go above a certain amount, then that portion of that capital gain is taxed at 20%. So it's a combination of all three brackets, 0, 15, and 20, depending on the brackets that they have. And therefore, that's how it gets calculated. Now, for short-term capital gains, it's a lot easier. We base it off of your ordinary income tax bracket, which goes all the way from 0% to 37.5%. So short-term capital gains are taxed a lot higher than long-term capital gains. So our goal with assets such as the ones that you mentioned are to hold them long-term, because that's how the government wants to incentivize us to create wealth and for us to hold assets in the long term, which is the same thing that we've been talking about, delayed gratification.
Yeah, it is funny how that they do that with the 401k and all these different programs of, you're incentivized to hold it until retirement. Otherwise, you can take it out. You'll be penalized. Not financial advisor, not tax advisor when I'm speaking. But it's funny how all this translates to, the RH ecosystem and delayed gratification being the pillar of it. And hey, it's worked for, lots of states and industries. These are just the mad gains portion of waiting for it. So there's a precedent for this, I do think.
Yeah.
Back to Almighty Hexkin, I think he had a follow-up. So if I swapped gains into BTC and use that BTC to buy gold or a yacht through a company that allows that, is there still taxes to be paid even though I didn't go through USD?
Yes. Is that no? It's not shady. I would say, like, you have to. I have a client that is buying a jet right now, and for the corporation, and we're gonna write it off. We have to. We're gonna depreciate the asset, so we're gonna create a chartered company, and it's actually gonna be rented out, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, it just has to be structured in the proper way. Now, the first is I swapped gains into BTC. That in itself is a taxable event, and then I use that BTC to buy gold. That's another taxable event. So, or a yacht. So BTC to a yacht, it's also a taxable event. So we have to be able to track those transactions and capture the gain for that BTC that you were holding. If it's at a loss or at a gain, obviously that's going to be recorded on that specific tax return. Now, if you want to put it through that yacht through the company, well, we have to kind of see, if you buy gold, you're not going to be able to write it off from the company, right? Because that's not a deductible expense that is necessary nor ordinary for it. But the yacht, it depends on the type of company, but it could be necessary and ordinary for you to have a yacht or for you to have a jet. So therefore, it depends, but it is achievable to be able to write off that asset against the capital gains that you had or capture with that BTC. Sure. And it's not shady. It's only shady when you're trying to defraud the government intentionally.
Well, just on the charter deal too, I mean, is there a way for, let's say, PulseChain launches, you find yourself sitting on $10 million worth of PulseChain, you want to get some of it out, you want to put it into something else. Is that putting it into a company? Is it putting it into, what are different options to get some liquidity from it that you can think of? Or to tax shelter it otherwise too.
I think that's a little bit on the tax planning and estate planning side. You might want to kind of put it in a trust to make sure that it's protected in case anything happens to you. Then you have the beneficiaries for that to go over to. And when it comes to maybe sheltering some of those capital gains into investment vehicles or retirement accounts, that could be something also that is included in your plan. And as far as a company, then you allocate that certain percentage of money that you want to allocate to that company. So it's a combination of things that you want to do. If you want to start a business and that's always been your dream, and now this is the opportunity for you to do so, let's go ahead and start it up with $1 million or even less, 500,000. And then just try to put some debt into that if you can. That is not going to affect your cash flow. You're still not going to buy a $9 million house or a $10 million house right off the bat. You may want to start with maybe some investment properties and maybe one primary residence if you want to do that. And you're going to pay taxes differently depending on the type of investment that you're going to. If you're going into if you're going to capture $10 million in your personal profile, obviously you're going to pay taxes on all of that. Are we going to then strategize with other investments on how to reduce that? Yeah, maybe we can depreciate property on the investment properties that you acquire. Maybe we do cost segregation studies to accelerate depreciation for some apartment buildings or some properties that we want to do on Airbnb, and be able to utilize those losses of, call it $1 million against the capital gain that we have. Yeah, there's many ways for us to think about it, and the different options are going to be dependent on what is it that we want to create, depending on the plan that they end up with after playing the cash flow game, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It just made me think of, the loans portion of it, maybe with liquid loans. It's one of the products in PulseChain that a lot of people are excited to use. And Frosty Dog's comment here, it reminded me of that, holding and how does taking a loan play into that? I know we talked about before, the difference between taking a loan and defaulting and the tax implications, and taking a loan just to get liquidity and then paying it back over time. I guess what are people's options in their ecosystem for that?
Well, you got to assess risk. Is taking a loan, for example, with liquid loans, going to add some risk? So you got to assess whether the protocol is safe, whether there's a lot of volatility on Hex at that moment. And you get to assess whether it's going to be safe for you to get that loan, right? Because the type of debt, you have to assess the type of debt. So if it has 8% interest, 3% interest, is different. It has a different risk factor. If you get one from the Mexican cartel and you get one from the bank, there's a different risk. And if you get debt from a protocol that it's on crypto, how safe is it, and what are your different risks? So I think that should be a major factor for people to analyze first. And then if that makes sense, well, that's definitely a way for you to save yourself from a taxable event, because an acquisition of a loan is not going to be something that you pay taxes on. You haven't liquidated the asset. And I think that's a great idea if you have done your research to make sure that you have assessed your risk and it's a safe option for yourself.
Yeah, and just want to touch on too. So the strategy, a lot of people have talked about, hey, I just want to use it and then default and then take that, or I just want to use it and maybe pay it back over whatever period of time it is, and then over collateralization. Are there anything like need to know as far as that goes? I think maybe you can talk to definitely defaulting. It sounds like there's some tax implications, but question mark.
You get wrecked on your investment. So now the liquidity that you had, because you're not going to be able to get the loan of 100% of the investment that you have. It has to be some sort of percentage off of that collateralized loan. Your LVT ratios have to make sense for you to get enough, right? So if you got $1 million in Pulse, you may only be able to get 400,000 to have enough room for that volatility of that investment to not get you margin called, or how do you call it? Margin called, right? Liquidated, on that loan. Yeah. So I think that let's consider that you have a safe loan value ratio, and you only got 30% of your $1 million, which is 300,000. That seems pretty safe in my head. Well, what am I going to do with that 300,000? Well, how much is a payment on that? If I have to pay it back, well, let's look at the terms, interest plus payment amount. And what am I going to do with that 300? Am I going to buy a Lambo, or am I going to buy an investment property? If the investment property with that 300,000 gives me cash flow of 1,500 after expenses, and my payment to liquid loans is only $500, well, I still have 1,000 positive cash flow. So therefore, I made a good decision into getting a loan, because the type of debt that I have is safe according to my risk valuation or assessment. And I use the money for positive cash flow, and therefore it's a good investment. Now let's go ahead and take it the other way around. I buy a Lambo with it. It's an asset that depreciates in value. So now it's worth 200 and something thousand out of the 3 that I paid. And does it give me positive cash flow? Not necessarily. it actually has a ton of expenses every single month. And now you, in addition to those expenses on the maintenance of the vehicle, you also have to pay the loan back. So therefore, have you made a good decision on that? Well, no, not financially speaking. Now, if you don't care, then that's fine. It's your life. You do whatever you want with it.
I'm going to try to figure out how we can buy a Lambo. So how can we? Let's say we make. That's
a good scenario.
Yeah, I mean, so do you want to take it, or like should I propose a scenario? Like, how can we get rich in crypto and buy a Lambo, and it makes sense?
Well, let's plan it out with the game that we just played. Let's say that we use that same 300,000 to be able to acquire an asset that gives us cash flow for $1,500 after expenses. How much is a payment on Lambo? Let's call it, for the sake of this conversation, because I don't know, $1,500 a month. Always have your passive income pay for your expenses. Have you achieved that then? Now that you've added a Lambo into your life and you have a loan or a lease payment, because I would only recommend for you to actually lease it, because it's not over 6,000 pounds. So therefore, I would only, that it makes sense for deductibility purposes for your business to actually lease a vehicle at $1,500. So if I have $1,500 payment and I have passive income coming in at $1,500, did I make the wrong decision? No. My passive income is paying for the expenses. So therefore, I have achieved what I wanted on the financial freedom, which is total amount of expenses with passive income to be matched up. And I'm not using any of my money to be able to purchase that asset. Well, in this case, I'm going to call the car a liability, even though it's considered technically an asset. But for the sake of this conversation, it's something that it doesn't give us positive cash flow. So for us to buy a Lambo, we have to make a couple moves. We have to look for assets that are going to give us that cash flow that then will pay for that monthly payment of the Lambo.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, hear that, everyone who's dreaming of Lambos on the moon. If we moon, you can have a Lambo, and it can make sense depending on your cash flow situation and passive income. You set yourself up.
We have to get rid of this mentality of only wanting to buy the Lambo for the picture and then upload it and be like, for the flex. And then you're going to be completely unfulfilled in your life, because now you have depleted your cash for the satisfaction of tons of people on the internet that don't even care about you, or that you don't even care about, or that you don't even know. Is literally, you have to recognize and be aware of why is it that you're doing that, and once you recognize that and you let go of that and you work out on your mental health, your emotional intelligence, and you're able to really handle those situations correctly, you're going to be able to let go of that immediate need to be liked or accepted by people in the internet.
Could you write off the Lambo if you use it to take pictures for outrage marketing?
For pictures of what?
For outrage marketing, to somehow, like, for a business. I'm trying to think of like how could you like buy a Lambo to literally take pictures for it and it makes sense in a business context?
I mean, there has to be a good argument for it. I have a client that has a clothing company and they bought a Lambo, and the way that they use it is for he has basically the vehicle for all the athletes that he has partnerships with, and he basically lets them have the Lambo, and he also uses it for all the photo shoots that they have on their clothing. The asset is not used for personal use at all. It's all 100% business. So therefore, once you collect evidence that you're able to do that, I mean, then you can write off the vehicle such as a Lambo. But you got to be very careful about it, because I mean, it could be a frivolous expense if you are not careful on how you structure it. So there are some risks if you are just flexing it for personal purposes and you're not really using it for business. It has to be 100% for business use.
Gotcha. Well, nobody asked that question, but I'm like, you know what? We're talking about Lambos today, so let's get it in. Let's talk about the logistics around that.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, if you're getting a Lambo, I mean, yeah, you may want to write it up, but at that point that you could actually afford it, you don't really care whether you're making it deductible or not. It's just like I have enough passive income coming in. I have cost segregation studies in all my properties. I'm paying zero taxes already. Do I care about a Lambo write-off? Probably not.
I mean, that's true. Man, excellent conversation. I think we just going through the cash flow game. Again, everyone, I dropped the link in the chat. If you haven't played it yet, fantastic game. Learn the game of investment mindset. Learn how the real world works and how to be financially free. Carlos, thank you for coming on and just educating us and just providing all this value. Super valuable hexing in the community. And yeah, we're lucky to have you for sure, man.
That's very kind, Max. I appreciate it. I thank everybody. A lot of people have reached out, so I just want to give a shout out for everybody that has reached out. Keep asking questions. Keep on reaching out. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So I just want to thank you for also giving me the space to speak my mind. As you can tell, I love speaking my mind. So I appreciate you giving me the platform to do so and having some time to share with you. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Of course. And people, if you're still making inquiries, looks like at Carlos D. Quintana on Twitter. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. Well, everyone, I think we'll end it there. Great conversation. I'm gonna have to rewind and watch them myself, especially when I go through the conversation. Just excellent. Want to tell everyone too that I think we're still having a Twitter space with Crypto Truth around 7:00 Pacific here in a couple hours or so. So if you want to hop on that, talk about Scivive, talk about all that type of stuff, just feel free to check out my Twitter at RHMax. I will tweet or retweet the link for that. So it should be fun as well. I'm gonna get off here, get some dinner, get some rest, and hop on that space later. Again, Carlos, fantastic conversation. Glad to have you, and hopefully we'll come back for number 4 sometime.
Sounds good, man.
It's gonna be a busy tax season for you, right? Well, I think you're gonna be busy coming up.
I'm excited for it.
Sounds good, man. All right, everyone. Scivive and 5555 and Cashflow. #Cashflow.